All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling those business intelligence manager interviews. And we've got the ultimate guide, RoleCatcher. We're talking sample questions, career insights, even their AI feedback tool.
It's a field that's just exploding right now. And it's not just about the data, right? It's about using it to make big decisions, to actually steer the direction of a company.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. RoleCatcher gave us some common interview questions, and the first one seems pretty straightforward. What experience do you have in data analysis and reporting? But how do we make our answer really stand out?
Well, anyone can rattle off a list of tools like Excel or Tableau. It's about going beyond that. Think of it like this. You're a detective, and you've just cracked a case. You wouldn't just say, I used a magnifying glass.
Right, you tell them how you used it. Show them the aha moment.
Exactly. You'd say something like, by digging into the sales data, I uncovered this pattern that led to a 15% jump in revenue. That's what makes them lean in.
Okay, so it's about framing our experience as a story where data leads to real impact.
Exactly. And make sure that story resonates with the specific company and the role you want. Tailor your examples, show them you've done your homework.
Got it. So how about this one? How do you make sure your reports are accurate, that the data is sound? Those prove you're a detail-oriented person. Questions always get me.
Think about it less like a personality trait, more like you have a system. So you could say something like, I follow a very specific 4-step process to validate everything. Like I double check against the source, I use data profiling tools, and then maybe you drop in a relevant industry term.
Like ISO 8000 compliance or something.
Exactly. That's how you really show them you speak their language.
I like it. And speaking of speaking their language, RoleCatcher's Career Guide, it actually highlighted this Certified Business Intelligence Professional certification. Is that something worth mentioning here?
Oh, absolutely. It shows you're invested in this field, that you're serious about staying ahead of the curve, and that's crucial in a fast-paced world like BI.
Okay, next question. Can you talk about your experience with data modeling and database design? Now we're getting a little more technical.
Right, now we're talking about the structure of data, the backbone of it all, which is essential for a BI manager. Don't be afraid to use terms like ER modeling or dimensional modeling.
But be prepared to break it down.
Yeah, keep it simple. You could say, I've used dimensional modeling to design data warehouses, the kind that make even super complicated data easy to understand and use for analysis.
So show them you get the behind-the-scenes stuff, but also how it translates into real-world results.
Exactly. And if you can, sprinkle in an example of how your modeling skills led to a smart business decision. That's gold.
Okay, this next one always makes me sweat a little. How do you stay updated on industry trends? It's like, am I supposed to be reading every research paper ever published?
No, it's not about that. They just want to see that you're curious, that you're engaged. You could mention following key publications. RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually has a great list of them. Or talk about webinars you've attended, maybe on a specific tool or technique.
It's about being a lifelong learner.
Exactly. Show them you're not just keeping up, you're out there looking for what's next.
Okay, and speaking of what's next, can we talk about RoleCatcher's AI feedback? It sounds like a total game changer.
It's like having a mock interview with a data-driven coach. But let's delve into that more after we cover a few more of these interview questions, all right?
You're on. Now, this next one from RoleCatcher always makes me cringe a bit. Tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult stakeholder.
Ah, yes. Everyone's got those stories.
Okay.
Right. Everyone's got those stories. But the key here is to focus on the solution, not the problem. So you quickly set the scene right, but then you emphasize how you handled it. Did you really listen? Did you find common ground? Maybe you had to adjust your communication style?
It's about showing them you can navigate those tricky interpersonal situations.
Exactly. You could say something like, I had this stakeholder who was really resistant to data, so I focused on building trust, on presenting the information in a way that resonated with their goals. And ultimately, they came around.
So it's about highlighting those conflict resolution skills and those communication skills. Those are important for any leadership position.
Absolutely. And framing it as a learning experience, always a good look.
Got it. Now let's get to the fun part. Tell me about a successful project you led. This is our time to shine.
It is. This is where you pick a project that really showcases your impact. And remember the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Don't just list off what you did, quantify those wins.
So instead of I created a dashboard, It's more like,
Exactly. It's like, by implementing this new visualization dashboard, I actually empowered the sales team to track key metrics in real time, which led to a 10% boost in our lead conversion rate. Boom.
now that's how you demonstrate your impact.
hmm
Okay, I think we have time for one more before we get to that AI magic. Tell me about a time you had to make a tough decision with incomplete data.
Oh, this one. It's a classic, and it's not about having all the answers. They want to see how you think on your feet.
So how do we approach this one?
They want to see that you can gather the information you can get, analyze the risks, and then make a judgment call, even with that uncertainty.
Easier said than done.
Right. But you could say, in my last role, I had to decide if we should invest in a new software, but we didn't have much user feedback yet. So to minimize risk, I actually did a pilot program just with a small group, analyzed the results, and then I made my recommendation.
So you're showing them you could be both analytical and decisive, even when things aren't crystal clear. That's a useful skill.
You got it. And that kind of strategic thinking, that's really at the core of what a BI manager does. But, there's a tool that can actually help you fine-tune these answers even more.
You mean RoleCatcher's AI? Tell me more.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer when it comes to crafting the perfect response. But before we get into that, let's tackle a few more of these interview curveballs.
You're right. We've still got some prepping to do. Okay, this next one from RoleCatcher's list feels like a classic. Can you tell me about a time you had to present complex data to a non-technical audience? I can already feel my palms getting sweaty.
It's a common one, for sure. But remember, being a BI manager is about being a data storyteller, right? You're taking this complex information and making it, dare I say, enjoyable for those of us who don't speak spreadsheet.
So less technical jargon, more narrative.
Precisely. Think about your audience. What do they care about? What keeps them up at night? Use visuals, dashboards, or even just simple charts to illustrate your point. And don't be afraid of analogies.
So instead of saying, like, our conversion rates increased by 15%, it's more like,
Yeah. That's like, we're now attracting 15% more customers because of this new strategy. Bam. Paints a picture.
it does. It makes the data mean something. And, RoleCatcher's AI can actually look at your answers and suggest ways to make them even clearer, even more impactful. Wow, okay, definitely going to have to circle back to that. But first, how about this one? How do you identify areas for improvement in a company's use of data? Where do you even start with something that broad?
It's like putting on your detective hat again.
Right. Look for clues. Are there inconsistencies in how they're collecting data? Bottlenecks in the reporting? Are they even tracking the right stuff to answer the important questions?
It's about seeing the big picture.
Exactly. You could say something like, in my last role, I noticed we were swimming in customer data.
Drowning in it, probably.
Right, but we weren't actually using it to personalize our marketing. So I proposed this new system, segmented customers based on what they'd already bought, and boom, email open rates jumped 10%.
So it's about finding that problem, offering a solution, and then showing the impact. You got it. Now, this next one is interesting. How do you see the role of a BI manager changing in the next few years? It's like they want to know if you're paying attention to what's coming next.
It's like they could sniff out a dinosaur, right? Someone who's about to be irrelevant.
Ah, well put. This is where staying updated on industry trends is clutch. Mention things like AI, machine learning. Talk about how those are already changing the game.
Show them you're not just keeping up, but that you're ready to lead the charge.
Exactly. You could say, I'm really interested in how AI can automate those repetitive tasks, freeing us up to focus on the big picture, the strategic stuff.
Love that. Okay, before we unlock the power of AI, I think we've got time for one final question. What's the last challenge RoleCatcher has for us? Hit me. What's that last interview brain twister?
All right, get ready for this one. How do you juggle competing demands from different stakeholders? I swear, it feels like you're set up for failure, right? Like deadlines and data requests are flying at you from every direction.
The recipe for disaster, that's for sure.
Right. But what if, instead of juggling, think of it like you're conducting an orchestra?
Okay, I like where this is going.
Each stakeholder is like a different instrument, right? They've all got their own part to play. And you're the conductor. Your job is to make sure they all work together.
Instead of a cacophony of data requests, we create a symphony of insights.
You got it. You could say something like, I use a mix of project management stuff, those methodologies, and I'm a big believer in clear communication. That's how you keep things on track. You figure out what's urgent, what really moves the needle.
And you got to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. I'm a big fan of tools like Jira. Keeps everything organized. Everyone can see what's up. And speaking of seeing what's up, don't forget about RoleCatcher's AI. That can help us make sure our answers really sing.
All right, you've been teasing this AI magic all episode. Let's say I'm using RoleCatcher to go after a few different BI manager jobs. How does their AI give me that extra edge?
Okay, picture this. You've got this AI, resume, writer, and interview coach, all rolled into one.
Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But it's real. You upload your resume, your cover letter, all that good stuff, and the AI gets to work. It's like spanning those job descriptions, finding those keywords, those skills that make you stand out. And if
Wow.
something's missing, it'll let you know.
Like having an AI proofreader that actually gets what hiring managers are looking for.
Exactly. But wait, there's more. Remember those practice answers we worked on? Upload those too. You can even do it as a video. And the AI, it analyzes everything. The content, how clearly you're explaining things, even your tone of voice and body language if you go the video route.
It's like having a mock interview, but with an AI that doesn't pull any punches.
It's the beauty of AI, right?
Yeah.
Takes this big, scary interview process and breaks it down. Gives you that personalized feedback so you can really nail it.
It's like having a whole team of career coaches and data scientists in your back pocket.
I know, right? And here's the best part. It's constantly learning, evolving. So you're not getting some generic advice. It's tailored to what's happening right now, you know? What skills are hot, what's working in interviews today.
That's amazing. Well, there you have it, everyone. We've taken a deep dive into conquering that business intelligence manager interview. We talked about those essential skills, how to handle those tough questions, and of course, how to leverage the power of AI with RoleCatcher.
Don't forget, the more you prepare, the more confident you'll be. So use those resources, get out there and network, but most importantly, believe in yourself. You've got this.
So true. And remember, in the world of data, knowledge is power. Until next time on The Deep Dive.